For tonight's game is Teacher of the Week, chosen by the team. This week, we're proud to recognize Mr. Caleb Watson for going.
Good evening and welcome to Hawks Stadium here in Texarkana, where your Paris Wildcats are getting ready to take on the Pleasant Grove Hawks in what has become an annual matchup and really good games over the past few years between these two. And I got to tell you that I think this one is going to live up to that hype as well, as the two teams are on the field for the ceremonial coin toss. Your captains for the Paris Wildcats include senior Davion Harrison, senior Chris Garcia, junior quarterback Tyler Heath, and senior Hudson Boots Harper. So thank you all very much for joining us. I'm Stephen Johnston, and we'll be joined alongside tonight by Evan Brazil, bringing us some color commentary. And Evan, thank you very much for joining us here on Game Day.
Yep, excited to be here. Big early season matchup for these two teams, and ready to get started.
And we have the result of the coin toss. Paris wins and defers, so it will be Pleasant Grove to receive the opening toss, opening kick. Very excited for what's to come here tonight. Paris, of course, last week, a wild game against Sanger. They led 21-7. That was the score in the first half. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it seemed like, hey, this thing's wrapped up. Let's shake hands and head home. And with about 2.5 minutes left, things just started kind of getting really wonky. And you had Sanger scoring points, getting turnovers, Paris responding, and next thing you know, it's 28-28 in the blink of an eye, and it had to be capped off with a 34-yard touchdown pass from Tyler Heath to Jacabrian Record with 15 seconds remaining in that ball game for Paris to take home the win. And now you get to go on the road to Texarkana against a team that has established themselves as a perennial power, as the Paris Wildcats get ready to kick this one away. And Pleasant Grove, they will be set to receive. And Jamarian Richardson, very exciting player for Pleasant Grove, two-way player, senior defensive back and receiver, will be the one to return this for PG. And it's going to be James Mitchell, left-footed kicker, to boot this one away. And we are getting it going here in Texarkana, taking around the 24, breaking through a couple of defenders, and up to about the 36, 37-yard line. That's where the Paris Wildcats will get this thing started. Thank you very much tonight to our presenting sponsors, Texas Furniture and Appliance and Red River Credit Union. You guys, we appreciate you so very much for making Paris Game Day possible. Officially spotting the ball at the 38-yard line on the left hash. And for the Paris Wildcats, we'll get you some defensive starters as Pleasant Grove out of the shotgun. Single back to the left, man in motion, right to left. Hand off, bouncing to the right, and stuck after a gain of 2. Looks like Harrison, one of the captains, came up to make that stop.
And that's a good move. You could see it sort of get blown up earlier in the play, but he does good not to lose yards on that one.
So that sets up 2nd and 9. The starters on the defensive side. On the defensive line, Jabraylon Hughes has been a starter since his sophomore year. And they're going to show us the Pleasant Grove. We're taking the Pleasant Grove feed, by the way, as Chris Garcia comes up for a big hit.
That's what's going to be the key for Paris in this game. What you want to do on defense is defend the run, and on offense, you want to establish the run. If they can do that, they're going to have a chance in this one.
That's what ball control is all about. We'll get back to the starters. On defense, brought to you by Lone Star Collision Center. It's also going to include Jace Freeman, Jackson Threadgill, who made his presence in the preseason, really earned that spot. Linebacker Chris Garcia, Cameron Floyd, and Hudson Harper. The defensive backs, Aldrin Gill, Davion Harrison, who we just saw, along with Brandon Shores, Caden Newberry, and Markeldrick Finch. Here's 3rd and 7. They're going to go wide out to the right side, and running with them are the Paris Wildcats, and that's going to shut down this drive. Brandon Shores doing a fantastic job for Paris.
And great pursuit by the Wildcats. 4 guys to meet him out there on the near side of the field. Excellent to force the 4th down.
So it looks like Pleasant Grove will punt. They kind of go surprise, and yeah, they wanted to catch Paris kind of lofting off the field, and they do. This is going to be a penalty, too many men on the field. So that'll turn 4th and 7 into 4th and 2 up near midfield, and that's going to make for an interesting decision. You're still on your own side of the field if you're Pleasant Grove. It's also going to depend on if PG was set when they snapped that ball. They did it awfully quick. Either way, it'll be 4th down again, and I think there's going to be an explanation to Coach Gibson, and he's definitely saying, look, they had a couple of guys who were still so I'm not sure what they're going to end up. They will say too many men on the field. Yeah, so that will be the call. 4th down and about 2 coming up. And I think Coach Gibson's going to send the offense back out.
No punt team, 4th down territory here in the middle of the field. What you want if you're Pleasant Grove, you've had 3 plays that haven't exactly gone your way. You want to figure out, move some guys around, see what you can get on this 4th down.
So they're going to go very heavy up front and try to bully their way for that 1st down, and they'll get it all the way across midfield to about the 44-yard line. They'll give them a nice spot at the 43.
Pleasant Grove showing off their excellent ability to move guys at the point of attack. I mean, the hole he ran through on that one, maybe you could have sent a truck right through it. They'll pick up the 1st down.
And Colt Yancey, the quarterback, freshly in Texarkana from Frisco, like you said, just found the hole, and it looks like they're going to go right back to it. This time a good job by the sophomore, Jeremiah Robinson, filling that up and saying, look, we saw it the last play. We're not going to allow it this time. 2nd down and 9.
Pleasant Grove going to continue trying to establish the run in this one.
Yeah, as they should. Not a whole lot through the air last week. Some success, but really it was their ground game that took it to Atlanta. And they don't mind running behind KJ Greer, their senior left guard, left tackle. He's played center. He's really done it all on this offensive line as a flag comes out. Delay of game against Pleasant Grove. So really, if you hustle off the field for Paris on that 4th down, you know, it'd be Tyler Heath and the offense and company, but rather you're trying to duplicate that effort that you've already put into stopping this opening drive for Pleasant Grove as they send 2 wide to the right and a single receiver to the left. Snap, handoff, coming right up the middle. And finally taken down around the 41-yard line, making it past the original line of scrimmage, taking it to 3rd and 8.
See Paris here showcasing some toughness early in this one. They did get the better of Pleasant Grove in their matchup last year, 7-0. And that game was a defensive slugfest, a grind to the very end that ended up only seeing a defensive touchdown.
2 wide to the right, heavy to the right, now heavy left as a man switches in motion. That's the direction they run to, right around the sticks. I don't think that he picks up the 1st down. That was Palmer Gibbs on the carry, and you can bet 4th and 1, they're certainly going to be going for it here. This first quarter action brought to you by First Federal Community Bank. Thank those guys. As a matter of fact, our first sponsor that came on with Paris Game Day. So thank you guys so immensely for helping make Paris Game Day possible in our community. 4th and 1, Yancey out of the shotgun, single back to his left, heavy to the left, and that's exactly where they go. And spinning out of a tackle, Markeldrick Finch comes in to clean it up, but not before another Pleasant Grove Hawk first down.
And that's just great toughness on that play to be able to break out of a tackle and get the first down on that one. They, at 2 or 3 different points, you would have think they had the stop on that one, but he shows off the toughness and they pick up the first.
And it's really, really tough when you're going up against a Pleasant Grove Hawk team. You get them to 4th down multiple times, can't quite cause that turnover on downs as they come out in that same 3-wide set, and they'll fake the handoff, looking, moving to his left, and releasing this ball incomplete. As you had great pressure from Caden Newberry, who had a monster game last week. 10 tackles and an interception, and here he forces 2nd and 10.
Colt Yancey does good to escape on that play, just not a lot open downfield. Does good not to force it into a precarious situation on that one.
So clock stopped at 6:29. That means this drive has taken nearly half the first quarter as Yancey out of the shotgun, hand off, and gains a little bit. Gonna pick up about 2 yards there. Job well done by that defensive front of the Paris Wildcats. And once again, looking like you're finding yourself in a situation where you could force Pleasant Grove into 4th down. Yancey out of the shotgun. Fakes the handoff, rolling to his right, under pressure from Harper, and he says, nah, I'm going to get out of the pocket and sling this one out of the park, as a matter of fact. Went over the gate. So job well done by Paris, and of course, at this point, from the 23, the Pleasant Grove Hawks will certainly go for it.
This is a longer 4th down. You might have to reach deeper into the playbook for this one.
Big opportunity for the Wildcats. They throw it short underneath and tackled short of the first down, and the Paris Wildcats hold.
That's a huge stop to get early in this game. Now you can bring your offense out and the key for this game offensively for Paris is going to be establishing the run. Look for them to try it early and often here.
So as it turns out, the Paris Wildcat offense will take over. And Tyler Heath and company had a big offensive night last week against Sanger. Comes out 4 wide, takes a snap, fakes the quick throw, and then he's looking for somewhere to scramble to his left. And he'll pick up good yardage on first down. And with that said, let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Paris Wildcat offense, brought to you by David's Meat Market. Tyler Heath, the junior quarterback. Jaron Baugh is the starting running back, a junior as well. Markeldrick Finch, Keyshawn Roberts, the wide receivers, H-back Tannen Hohenberger, along with Hudson Harper, the wide receiver. And we'll get to the offensive line following this play here on 2nd and about 3. Dropping back under pressure and loses the ball on the ground, and this is a scrap. And I think that the Paris Wildcats' Jace Record is going to fall on it, but that's going to mark Paris backwards. And so speaking of which, Jace Record starting right tackle, Jaden Sims right guard, Ian Woodruff the center, Jaden McIntyre the left guard, and Jace Freeman the left tackle. Now 3rd and 6 for Paris. And Coach Gibson on the sideline sees something, or one of his assistants does. Paris out of the shotgun. Heath takes the snap. Quick throw to the right. Left, rather, and it falls incomplete.
We saw the use of a simulated pressure on that one. It kind of, you saw Tyler Heath looking a bit out of sorts, and it ends up falling incomplete on that one.
Yeah, and the pressure from the play before probably has a little something to do with that as well. And now Heath, of course, the punter as well, so gets a pretty good one off, but returnable. And this is going to be Solomon running to his right and forced out of bounds. And that's where Pleasant Grove will take over, just short of midfield. You know, in the pregame, we talked a little bit about how this is probably going to be a little higher scoring affair than last year, which would not be a challenge. It was 7-0 last year, but nonetheless, right out of the gate, you see the Paris Wildcat defense stand up tall, have a stand inside Paris Wildcat territory, and then Pleasant Grove with a defensive stand on the other end as well. Yancey out of the shotgun, takes the snap, fakes the handoff, under pressure. He's hit from behind, and this looks like Chris Garcia coming in. No, it's going to be, that's Cameron Floyd. And I tell you what, last year when Cameron Floyd came on the scene, he was just beaming. Coach Hohenberger was beaming about what a great surprise he was. Now, we do have a flag in the secondary. We'll see if that eliminates the sack. Yeah. So that'll be an automatic first down for Pleasant Grove. And that's tough. That's the sort of thing that you just can't do against a very good Pleasant Grove team. Yancey's going to hand this one off, breaking through a tackle, eventually chased down by Garcia. Looks like Red Finch in on that tackle as well. Picked up half of what's needed. 2nd and 5 coming up. So Yancey out of the shotgun. 3 wide. Hands off, makes a move, and he could be off to the races. 1 man to beat, and that's going to be a touchdown for the Pleasant Grove Hawks. They strike first here in Texarkana with 4:11 to go in the first quarter.
That's an incredible move on the inside handoff there, showcasing the speed to get for a huge electric run that gets his home crowd fired up.
And the job, that might have been a little bit of a read option by the quarterback. You see where the pressure is bearing down on. If it's on him, you give it. If it's on the back, you take it. Extra point is up and good. Pleasant Grove leads this one 7-0. Paris taking the kickoff when we come back here on Paris Game Day.
Yay! We're so excited you decided to become a member.
Thanks. I didn't think it would be this easy.
I know. We've opened up memberships so even more people can take advantage of our amazing services.
Are you going to clean this up?
Become a new member and take advantage of all RRCU can offer. Experience the credit union difference anytime, anywhere.
No, seriously, are you going to clean this up?
Do you RRCU?
So we have a 7-0 ball game here tonight as the Paris Wildcats getting ready to take the kickoff, brought to you by Roadrunner Service and Tire.
Now the question is, how does Paris respond? If this game does live up to expectation and it is the higher scoring affair that it's been hyped up to be, you got to think Paris has got to come right back and tie this game up.
High, short kick, and it's going to be Record moving east and west, then cutting back west to east and trying to find a little space. Finds it, and he'll be taken down right around the 40-yard line. So kind of one of those situations where the coach is saying, no, 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 yes, yes, yes. And Jacabrian Record, they have some high expectations for that young man. He came on a year ago for the Paris Wildcats as a sophomore. And then this year scored that winning touchdown against Sanger. Meanwhile, Pleasant Grove just stood up tall defensively against Atlanta last week. They have a really talented receiver over there in Atlanta, but it didn't matter as Heath throws a quick one out to Finch, goes through his hands. And that'll bring up 2nd down and 10. But the clock stopped at 3:58. Pleasant Grove leading 7-0. And I'll tell you this about Pleasant Grove. One thing we've talked about is this will be the first time Paris has played them without a Jackson on the team in nearly a decade. And it almost just seems like Pleasant Grove reloads. They're still going to have a lot of young men on that team who can do some tremendous things as they hand off to Ball. Ball goes up the middle, pushing for a gain of about 6 yards, and the scrum will be called dead at the 45. That's where they'll say his forward progress was halted. It brings up 3rd in a more manageable situation. I think that was the first designed run for the Paris Wildcats. Fabian Brown lined up wide to the left, looking over to the sideline for the play. Meanwhile, Pleasant Grove, 3 down linemen, a couple of ends standing up, but they throw the screen to Finch, and he is stonewalled at the line of scrimmage. And coming up with a big hit was Jalen Foster. A senior defensive end. We talk about a Jackson graduating, and you run right into Foster on that screen, and he makes you feel it. Twins right for the Paris Wildcats. Single receiver is Brown wide to the left. This could be a situation where Heath just steps back and pooch punts. That's what it's looking like. It's 4th and 4, and Heath is going to get one that rolls very nicely for the Paris Wildcats. Maybe too nicely, and it goes into the end zone. And so far, that's kind of been a little bit of the story for Paris is they're just a little tick off.
We've seen some early game jitters from the Wildcats, the drop on the second possession, and obviously the disaster on the first, the fumble. They've got to find a way to settle into this game. Pleasant Grove is a very talented team, and it's going to take discipline and focus to get the win tonight.
Twins right, single receiver to the left. Yancey out of the pistol formation, hands off, coming left, and there's a nice tackle in the backfield to bring down Nick Bells. And that's Floyd once more. Undersized, small guy, all the confidence in the world.
At Paris, you've got to love what's happening at the line of scrimmage on defense right now. They are undersized by a fair margin, but they are getting great push at the point of attack. They're not the running lanes that Pleasant Grove would like to see. You got to like what's happening if you're Paris.
Twins right, motion goes from left to right, and they bring it back to the left side. And there's Bells pushing ahead. He's going to be near the first down marker. It'll depend on that spot, and they're going to say, yeah, go ahead and move it. Nose of the ball just across the 30. For Paris, you have a combination of experience and inexperience on that defensive line. You've got guys like Jace Freeman, had a breakout year last year. Jabraylon Hughes, been on varsity a long time. And then a couple of sophomores, as it looks like Floyd is going to chase down from behind to make that tackle. No gain. Brings up second down and 10 from the 30. Seven to nothing is our ball game, and came off of a long run from Pleasant Grove. Otherwise, both teams really having to earn it offensively. As Yancey out of the shotgun, man to his left, takes the snap, looking left, throws it out, a little miscommunication. As Yancey looked like he was throwing the out while Wyatt Neal was running in. Brings up third down and 10 for the Paris defense, as Pleasant Grove, they really marched on that first drive, picked up a couple of fourth down conversions, and Paris was able to stop them on the third. Pleasant Grove would score on their next drive as Yancey, moving to his right, pumps and comes back to his left. Paris there to make the tackle, and that's Aldrin Gill who puts a nice pop, and that'll bring up fourth down and 5. And now if you're Paris, those guys got to book it off the field. Don't make the same mistake you did last time. And it looks like Paris is going to take a timeout. Is that what I'm saying? I think that's what it's going to be. Timeout, Paris Wildcats, with about 5 seconds left in the quarter. And Pleasant Grove leading 7-0. We'll be right back on Game Day.
We're here at the biggest game of the year for the kickoff, and I say these local guys have no competition, John.
No doubt, Stephen. Why sweat in the press box?
When you can sit like a king.
And we got the best seats in the house right here, baby.
Where every seat is the best seat.
Oh yeah, Texas Furniture and Appliance. Local since 1927.
These players are definitely in their comfort zone.
You say something?
And back in Texarkana, Paris game day, and Pleasant Grove lining up in a punt formation. And they get a high hanger off, and Paris just gets away from it. It'll touch a Pleasant Grove Hawk at around the 32-yard line, and that will do it for the first quarter. Like we said, there was only 5 seconds left before Paris took that timeout, so we will step aside, and when we come back, second quarter action brought to you by more CDJR. You're listening to Paris Game Day.
Ready to rep your school and your wallet?
I'm here to open a student account and score that sweet school debit card.
With no monthly fees, mobile banking, and a debit card that shows your school pride, our student account is built for your game plan.
Get in the game. Open yours today.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
Start of the second quarter, it's going to be Heath out of the shotgun, twins right, wide left, and trying to pick the way through the right side. They're going to say pushing the ball up maybe about 2 or 3 yards for the Paris Wildcats. That'll bring up second down and 7. Trying to get an eye on who the back is in the backfield. That might be Dawson. Giovanni Dawson. Here's a deep ball down the sideline. Red Finch down the sideline, and he will be just out of bounds. Got just enough of a hand on him. But that's exactly what we've been talking about from this wide receiver group. Paris Wildcats can strike.
Beautifully placed ball by Heath.
Yeah, great ball from Heath. Great recognition. Out of the shotgun, Heath takes the snap, hand off Dawson. And I tell you, it doesn't look like a ton, but then you see where the mark is at, and it's like, oh, 4. Okay, yeah, second down and 6. We can live with that. And what that means is the offensive line, you know, maybe there's not gaps opening up, but they're at least getting a push. So this is going to be Brown at the bottom of your screen, Twins at the top of your screen, including Red Finch wide. Snap back, looking deep, rolling to his right, and he will throw it towards the sideline and just a little beyond the reach of the intended receiver record. That'll bring up 3rd down and 6 for Paris. Pleasant Grove leading 7-0. They struck in the first quarter on a long run as Heath out of the shotgun. And now we have a whistle. And a false start against Paris. And you can't keep doing this to yourself. If you want to hang with a Pleasant Grove Hawk team, you got 2nd and 6, and suddenly it turns into 3rd and 11. That's going the wrong way. This time you're going to have trips to the left side, including Record, Roberts, and Brown. Roberts goes in motion, flushing Heath out of the pocket. Nice throw, just shy of the first down marker, but it's going to be a gain of 10 to set up 4th and 1.
Heath does really well on that one. Dealing with the immediate pressure, he rolls out, finds his guy on the run. Impressive play on there.
Yeah, Heath did a great job of continuing to buy time, creating and giving his man an opportunity. And now 4th and 1, they're going to go empty backfield with Boots Harper as the quarterback. He'll take the snap, and it looks like he at least has the first down. Doesn't have a lot, but has the first down.
With Roberts on the jet motion there, you can't crash everybody in. You absolutely have to respect the shovel pass there. So Paris able to scheme and create the yards for the first down.
And that's what they love about a guy like Boots. That's what they love about a guy like Roberts, is they both have great versatility. And now, of course, you go right back to Heath at quarterback. 4 wide. H-back to the left is Hohenberger. Here's the snap. Looking right, quick throw to the sideline off the mark. And that'll bring up 2nd down. It looked like they just wanted a quick speed out to their speedster, Keyshawn Roberts. Find a way to get the ball in his hands creatively. Just couldn't put the ball on him. A little bit of that having to do with that Pleasant Grove pressure that was there relatively immediately. And they'll hand off to Baugh. And Baugh this time getting a great push from this Paris Wildcat offensive line. And that's going to be a gain of about 7. And that's what you need out of this run game. That sets up a more reasonable 3rd down. Twins right. Red Finch and Jacabrian Record in the slot. Fabian Brown wide to the left near the numbers. Tannen Hohenberger H-back to the left. And they're going to have Jaron Baugh there in the backfield. And Coach Hohenberger comes over and will take the Paris Wildcats' second timeout with 8:42 left in the second quarter. Paris trailing 7-0 to Pleasant Grove here on game day.
At Moore Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Paris, we can make your next vehicle purchase simple, stress-free, and built around you. Whether you're looking for a rugged Ram truck, an adventurous Jeep, or a quality pre-owned, we have the right vehicle for you at the right price. And with over 700 five-star reviews, our customers know that our friendly, knowledgeable staff is here for you. So come see us off the loop in Paris, Texas, and for more details, visit morecdjr.com.
And out of the timeout, brought to you by Harrison Walker and Harper. And speaking of HWH, those guys did a tremendous job here in Texarkana at Pleasant Grove High School. They built the athletic facility that's next to us, and I got a little bit of a tour of that facility. It's absolutely gorgeous, so great job to the folks at HWH. 3rd down and 4 for the Paris Wildcats. Out of that timeout, Heath takes the snap, hands off to Baugh, and they're going to try to go pushing that pile one more time, and they'll pick up a couple, but will be about a yard short. I wonder if they go back to Boots Harper as that Wildcat quarterback. Heath still in the ball game, so on 4th and about a yard and a half, they certainly will line up to go for it. You don't go this deep down the field and settle for 3. Not against Pleasant Grove. 4 wide. Man comes in motion. That's Record left to right. Rolling out to his right. Gets a block from Baugh. Throws jump ball into the end zone, too tall. Turnover on downs. And it'll go over to Pleasant Grove. Paris put together a very nice drive, but couldn't cap it off. And with 7:53 left in the half, Pleasant Grove goes on offense, leading 7-0.
As was an absolutely massive 4th down Paris found themselves in, and just immediate pressure. That's kind of been the growing theme here. In pass protection, Paris is not as strong as they would like to be. Immediate pressure, he rolls out right and sails it over the back of the end zone.
And that's a pretty good analysis, because in the run game, they've been able to push the pile a little bit, right? Even though they're not hitting some open holes, they're at least, being able to maybe, you could say, out bench press Pleasant Grove in that regard. However, not able to pick up the yard and a half needed as Yancey takes the snap, hand off, and so there's a nice little gain of 3 for PG, but a really good tackle on the back end.
Absolutely an excellent tackle at the second level there. He had nothing but green grass in front of him, so great way to get the stop in the open field.
So you see that gain of 3 versus how Paris is gaining 3. Paris having to push the pile. Here, it's more like you have a last line of defense making the tackle. Both result in 3 yards, just coming at it quite differently as Yancey. Paris looking like they're bringing pressure, and they are. And there's another hit, getting just be a ball comes out. Paris picks it up, and we're going the other way. Are they blowing this down? Oh my goodness. They are blowing this play dead. And not only that, but it's going to be close to a 1st down for Pleasant Grove. Not quite, but oh, my goodness. Hey, y'all got a video replay board up there, guys. I'm just saying.
Not clear from in the press box when that ball came out. Would have been a massive play for Paris and a disaster for Pleasant Grove. Brings up 3rd down.
Yeah, it's a scrum. It's a pile. It is tough to see. Officials say that either he was down or forward progress has been stopped. So we go to third and about 1.5 yards. Out of the pistol. Handoff left, bouncing right. And Chris Garcia makes the stop, but not before the first down, up near the 20-yard line. So the ball is going to be spotted on the left hash at the 20-yard line. You're going to have Chris Garcia, Boots Harper, and Floyd, the linebackers. And then you've got Brandon Shores creeping up into kind of a linebacker spot, dropping back, throwing deep, and has a man open, can't reel it in. It's dropped by Spencer Browning, and he had some steps on Aldrin Gill, which is hard to do. Gill is incredibly fast. And just at the top of that route, able to create some separation, just couldn't reel it in. That's going to bring up 2nd down and 10.
A massive drop early in the game, only up by 1 score. He had a great move on the outside, on the field side, but ultimately couldn't haul it in there.
I don't know. Dare I say shades of CD Lamb? Too early? Too soon? Pleasant Grove hands this one off. Spin move, another spin move, but can't get away from Chris Garcia. 4-year starter for the Paris Wildcats, and that sets up 3rd and 12.
Garcia's second physical tackle on this drive. That one, he picks up the TFL. Puts them in a very favorable down and distance. Percentage is not great on 3rd and 12, 3rd and 11.
And this time, Pleasant Grove deep in their own territory. They faced some 3rd downs, 4th downs, but had been able to pick them up and go for it on 4th. Here, getting this stop would be monumental. There's another deep ball, and there's a big push at the top of the route, and a flag comes out. You'll decline this one, though. This was a clear push-off. I mean, he gave Keyshawn Roberts a stiff arm. So if this is offensive, it'll be declined.
Some discussion on this call.
Defensive holding.
That is one interpretation.
That's tough. That's tough. So it'll set up 1st down for Pleasant Grove at the 33-yard line. Ball shaded towards the left hash. Out of the pistol. Yancey takes the snap, fakes the handoff. Pressure gets nailed. And this one's going to sail way beyond the line, or way beyond the receiver, but Jabraylon Hughes came in.
Pleasant Grove taking a few deep shots on this drive. We'd seen them earlier in the game slowly matriculate the ball down the field.
And that time, obviously off target, but that had everything to do with Jabraylon Hughes breaking through. 2 wide, out of the shotgun, handoff coming right, back to the middle, and Chris Garcia putting a stop to it at the 41-yard line. And that sets up 3rd and 2. out of the shotgun, handoff up the middle, picks up the first down.
As Pleasant Grove, you know you have the ability to take the top off the defense, but not necessary if you're averaging 4 or 5 yards a rush.
And I bet that eventually that's what you end up going to. Obviously, they want to mix it up. They want to keep the Paris Wildcats guessing. First down from the 46-yard line. And now we have a timeout. 7-0. It's been a defensive battle between these two. We'll step aside here on Game Day.
Sorry you're under the weather, Susie. Here are those loan docs.
Thanks, James. I'm so glad we didn't have to delay this closing.
Tissue?
Thanks.
Secure and safe loan closings, or take care of just about any banking task. Experience the credit union difference. Anytime, anywhere. With RRCU's digital banking. Do you RRCU?
And we are back here on Game Day, 7-0. Pleasant Grove leading the Paris Wildcats. And they're still having some discussions on the sideline. And, you know, outside of the one big break, the one big run from Pleasant Grove, it's really been a defensive struggle. Yards have been tough to come by. Yancey out of the pistol, boot out to the right, takes another hit as he throws. It's complete and brought down, fighting, able to get about 2 yards. So second down and 8 coming up, and a great job from the Paris defense there. Great job by Pleasant Grove's offense to salvage some yards. And Yancey, he's taken some big hits here in the first half. Man comes in motion left to right. There's the pop pass, trying to fight his way through, and is able to get back to the line of scrimmage, maybe add a yard, and that brings up 3rd and 7.
Paris has done great in this one to play assignment football, to understand staying in your lane and the run fit. You see it right there, as with the jet motion earlier in the game. There was just nowhere for him to go there. Everybody stayed home and did exactly what they needed to do.
Now, we thought this was going to be a little bit of a shootout tonight. Got 2 talented offenses, but man, yards have just been tough to come by. Both teams have had 1 big hitter each. For Pleasant Grove, it resulted in a touchdown. For Paris, just a big gain that ended up not being much of anything. Here, though, it's going to be a 12-yard gain to the 40.
Nick Bell's there, showing off the moves, the stick skills.
And that's going to be a timeout. No, actually, we've added the 2-minute warning in high school football. I forgot about that. So down to 2 minutes, under 2 minutes here in the first half. 7-0 Hawks. We'll be right back on Game Day.
Yay! We're so excited you decided to become a member.
Thanks. I didn't think it would be this easy.
I know. We've opened up memberships so even more people can take advantage of our amazing services.
Are you gonna clean this up?
Become a new member and take advantage of all RRCU can offer. Experience the credit union difference. Anytime, anywhere.
No, seriously, are you gonna clean this up?
Do you RRCU?
And back on Game Day here in Texarkana at Pleasant Grove High School, Hawks Stadium, where Pleasant Grove leads the Paris Wildcats 7-0. That's a very familiar score. That was the final from a year ago, just in favor of Paris. Came on a 98-yard interception return from Malik Johnson. I hope he's doing well. And now Paris trying to hold strong as Pleasant Grove has 2 timeouts left and 2 minutes to move the ball. But even though they've been able to move the ball efficiently, it's taken them quite some time to move down the field, and if Paris can hold up in that regard, they might be able to get out of here without giving up any more points as Garcia comes up with another stop. About a 4-yard gain. And Chris having another solid night here in the first half. They're going to go quick. Yancey takes the snap, fakes the handoff, nearly hit from behind as he goes, and this one is into the end zone and caught. Touchdown. Jamarian Richardson, he's their biggest playmaker on the outside. And again, let's see if they show this. And a great job by Richardson hauling that one in. Extra points tonight brought to you by David House Jewelry. Kick is up, and it is good. 14-0, Hawks lead Paris. Wildcats taking the kickoff when we come back here on Game Day.
We're here at the biggest game of the year for the kickoff, and I say these local guys have no competition, John.
No doubt, Stephen. Why sweat in the press box?
When you can sit like a king.
And we got the best seats in the house right here, baby.
Where every seat is the best seat.
Oh yeah, Texas Furniture and Appliance. Local since 1927.
These players are definitely in their comfort zone.
You say something?
And back here on Game Day as we take the Pleasant Grove feed from here in Texarkana as their crew really does a great job. And speaking of great job, Paris is going to need a good return here. They've got 1 timeout left and a minute and a half roughly. And, Pleasant Grove, it's pretty much been run, try the deep ball. Run, try the deep ball. Sometimes it's benefited them. As this one's going to be kicked deep and out of the end zone. No chance for a return from Keyshawn Roberts. So it'll have to be Tyler Heath, and a great opportunity here for Paris because you have the chance at a 2-for-1.
Absolutely. Paris getting the ball at halftime. And you have to think, to this point in the game, Paris has played Pleasant Grove's game. Ball control, down and distance, the field position battle, all emphases. Pleasant Grove bills himself as the bigger, more physical team in this one. So as Paris, that's not the game you want to play. You want to get 2 quick scores right here and get yourself right back in this one.
Out of the shotgun, 3 wide. Heath takes the snap, hands off. Is this ball moving up forward to around the 40? And brother, go down, save that clock. I get the instinct. And that was Giovanni Dawson, rather. The bigger of the 2 backs. Paris wants to get on it quickly. That clock is running 1:08 and counting. Snap goes back to Dawson. And Dawson breaking through would-be tacklers. And approaching midfield, and Paris, let's see what they decide to do here. Clock is stopped, and I'm not sure if that's the official who did that. Roughly 1 minute remaining. Personal foul against Pleasant Grove. This will be helpful. Face mask.
costly mistake by Pleasant Grove. You got to think if the Wildcats are able to, so to speak, double dip on this possession and the next, it completely changes the complexion of this game.
So 4 wide for the Wildcats. Out of the shotgun, Heath takes the snap, looking, surveying, and he fires a deep ball to Record. Record catches it and is forced out of bounds around the 10. They're going to mark him at the 13. And now with 51 seconds, a timeout in your pocket, and inside the red zone, you can do whatever you want in the playbook. They'll go 4 wide. Ball, the back, to the right of Heath. Takes the snap, looking, trying to escape, and he'll be taken down. And that sack coming in the form of Keedred Smith. They call him Kiki. And now that clock rolling, and suddenly a sack was the last thing that you needed. Second and about 14. There's the snap and another one. Just too much pressure. And now Paris has to take a timeout. We're going to keep it right here on Paris Game Day with 16 seconds remaining. And man, just a promising drive that started off with 2 hard-nosed Giovanni Dawson runs, aided by the personal foul face mask penalty. You get the big hitter to Jacabrian Record. And now you've gone backwards about 22 yards.
If you're Paris here, you can still get a score out of this drive. In all likelihood, we're going to see cover 4-3 out of Pleasant Grove. Find something over the middle of the field, a crosser or something of the sort, that's going to get you closer for a field goal.
Yeah, the tough thing about that is there's 16 seconds. That switch in personnel would have to be flawless.
Shades of TCU versus Baylor 2022.
Only a Baylor grad would know what you're talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
So 3rd down and quite a long ways. And one thing you could consider, you know, Pleasant Grove's playing something pretty safe here. Trips right, single receiver left. Here's the snap. Heath is going to run. He's going to take off himself and makes a man miss into the end zone. Tyler Heath with the scamper on 3rd and a mile back from Paris.
Incredible. A Superman moment from Tyler Heath. Pressure in his face, finds his way out of the pocket, climbs up, and takes it for a huge touchdown.
That was badly needed for the Paris Wildcats. And now James Mitchell will come on to kick the extra point. 7 seconds remaining. And remember, the Paris Wildcats, they'll take the ball to start the second half. So we have a ball game if Paris can get the special teams unit going and in order. The extra point from David House Jewelry. The hold. Kick is up, and it is good. 14-7, Paris cuts into the Pleasant Grove lead. We'll step aside and be right back with kickoff coming up here on Game Day.
Ready to rep your school and your wallet?
I'm here to open a student account and score that sweet school debit card.
With no monthly fees, mobile banking, and a debit card that shows your school pride, our student account is built for your game plan.
Get in the game. Open yours today.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
And back in Texarkana at Pleasant Grove High School, Hawks Stadium, 14-7, and Tyler Heath does a phenomenal job to put the Paris Wildcats on the board, and this kick goes way out of bounds. I mean, type of thing where you're like, he definitely didn't mean to do that. I just got to text Evan, and if it is what I think it is, yeah. A buddy of mine texted me saying, love the Baylor reference. He said, I know the exact play.
The Baylor faithful will remember Sonny Dykes rolling the field goal team onto the field to kick a game-winning field goal against the Bears in 2022. Heartbreaking, as I, along with many others, were preparing to jump the side of the stands to rush the field.
You and Alan Gooding would be terrific friends. I can tell you that right now. So we will retry the kick after it went out of bounds. Pleasant Grove takes the penalty and the re-kick. This time high, taken around the 25 by Pleasant Grove, running wide right side of the field and taken down, looks like by record. And they're going to have, let's see, 1 second on the clock. They'll spot him at the 36-yard line, and Paris, I was going to say, this is a very interesting defensive strategy. You talk about the prevent of all prevents. I thought they were all 11 going back there.
Red Rover on the goal line.
I'm not interested in playing that game. So Paris showing 3 up front with the 3 linebackers all playing off ball. Out of the shotgun, they'll just hand this one off. And Chris Garcia, oh goodness, him and Boots Harper lay a hit, and that'll do it for the first half. Pleasant Grove 14. Paris strikes late in the second quarter to put 7 on the board. We'll be right back here on Game Day.
At Moore Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Paris, we can make your next vehicle purchase simple, stress-free, and built around you. Whether you're looking for a rugged Ram truck, an adventurous Jeep, or a quality pre-owned, we have the right vehicle for you at the right price. And with over 700 5-star reviews, our customers know that our friendly, knowledgeable staff is here for you. So come see us off the loop in Paris, Texas, and for more details, visit moorecdjr.com. At Moore Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Paris.
Sorry you're under the weather, Susie. Here are those loan docs.
Thanks, James. I'm so glad we didn't have to delay this closing.
Tissue?
Thanks.
Secure and safe loan closings, or take care of just about any banking task. Experience the credit union difference. Anytime, anywhere. With RRCU's digital banking. Do you RRCU?
About it. We are here at Hawk Stadium, Pleasant Grove High School. Pleasant Grove leading 14-7 over the Paris Wildcats, and Evan, really for Pleasant Grove, you know, they get the two big hitters, one on the ground, one through the air. Everything else was really hard fought, had to be earned. They converted a couple of first downs from fourth down conversions, and you know, Paris on the other side, you know, there hasn't really been a case of really feeling like one team just has head and shoulders the advantage over the other.
Oh, absolutely. And explosive plays have been the key to the game for both teams. What's going to be very important, and the winner of this game will end up winning through being the more disciplined team. We've seen costly penalties and turnovers affect both teams in this one. This is where you want to calm down and settle into it. You don't need to work in anything extravagant. This is exactly what you practiced, and you want to carry it forward.
Yeah, absolutely. We can take a little bit of a look at some of the games from across Northeast Texas, and particularly I can't imagine this is correct. You know, on the Dave Campbell's app, sometimes someone will get on there and make up a score that is just outlandish, you know, 1,042-8, whatever. I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about.
It's wish casting.
Yeah, exactly. So, but at the same time, I don't know what to make of this score that it says between Cooper and Collinsville, because it says 67-41 at halftime.
Well, at risk of spreading misinformation, that sounds like a shootout of shootouts to me.
That you know, that's why I'm tiptoeing on talking about this particular game. Like, I don't know, 67-4. That means that like I don't even know if you have time to run offense. You're just scoring, returning kicks at that point. Like, that is bizarre. So I'm gonna temper that. You guys take that score with a grain of salt, if you will. Now, last night, Honey Grove did beat Marlin 40-7. This game you have here 14-7 at the half, a much more realistic halftime football score. Detroit is trailing All Saints 26-0 that game in the second quarter. Farmersville leading North Lamar 21-0. Clarksville, who I think has a chance to have a good team. You know, they had a lot of juniors and a sprinkle of sophomores here and there last year, and some impactful seniors, but they didn't graduate just a ton. They lead Quinlan Bowles 12-0 as that game approaches halftime. And with that said, we're going to take a little time out and enjoy the Blue Blazes band here on Paris Game Day.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Paris Blue Blazes Band. Ladies and gentlemen, Pleasant Grove High School proudly presents, under the direction of Miss Brooklyn Bearden, the 2025 American Drill Team Small Team High Kick Champions, our spectacular Pleasant Grove Showstoppers.
All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the Blue Blazes band from Paris High School, and always doing a fantastic job under the direction of Miss Amber Musgrove. And now, Evan, let's talk a little bit about that first half, and we touched on it briefly before being in utter shock of that Cooper score, which I'm still not sure if that's real or not.
What a moment.
Be able to get back to that here in a second. But, you know, what I saw from the Paris Wildcats is, you know, a little bit of missed opportunity on offense. There were some chances to, you know, move the ball. They did that, some on the ground with efficiency. Not a lot of lost plays on the ground. It really wasn't until you get down the field. Tyler Heath takes a couple of sacks. Pass protection has been spotty, if you will. But then Tyler Heath, you know, he's a little more nimble than you might think. You know, he can move around a little bit better for a guy who's, you know, typically a pocket passer. Yeah, he can boot out and throw on the run and things of that nature. But that scramble is something that the Paris Wildcats badly needed, especially getting the ball to start the second half.
Oh, absolutely. It's huge, and it completely changes this game. I mean, up to that point, you think Pleasant Grove dominant in all phases of the game. Positives for the Wildcats, you were getting great movement at the point of attack on offense. Run blocking, definitely a strength for them. But for Tyler Heath, backed up, it's 3rd and 18, and you've taken 2 huge sacks on that drive when you really, more than anything, needed to drive down and score a touchdown. To be able to escape the pocket and take it, strike right through the secondary for the touchdown cannot be overstated. That's huge for the Wildcats.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, a lot of people say it's 2 for 1, right? You get the second half. I actually take it a step further logistically. You actually get 3 of the next 4. And if you can get 1 stop, then that gives you a massive advantage. So you scored, you take the next possession, you go and score and get a stop. That is something that really changes the complexity of a game. So that should be the goal for the Paris Wildcats. Hey, let's take this kickoff. Let's really put our best scripted drive together to start the second half. And then defense, you guys go and do what you did for a majority of that first half. Like we said, there were some big hitters. That's where Pleasant Grove was able to get on the board. A long touchdown run, a long pass. Otherwise, Paris has really made PG work for every inch that they've gained, and PG has made Paris work for every inch that they've gained. So I expect going into the second half a lot of the same. I think that you're going to have 2 teams that have a ton of respect for one another, who schedule each other even though they're not in the same district, they're not in the same division. Paris D1 4A, Pleasant Grove D2 4A, but they both feel that this matchup benefits them. And 14-7 after the first half, Paris taking the second half kickoff with the chance to tie it. That's why they feel that it benefits them, because you're both going to sharpen the iron for each other, so to speak. And with that said, we're going to take a look at some scores from across Northeast Texas. I'm going to refresh this, see if anyone's changed that score. Yeah. It says halftime 67-41.
Almost think it was prearranged at that point. I'm not going to play defense if you're not going to play defense. Old school Big 12 football, Red River rivalry there.
Yeah. I mean, this takes it even a step further. You know, I don't know.
Halftime.
Yeah, I mean, if by all means, if there's anyone like in Cooper watching, feel free to comment the score. And by the way, if you are watching on Facebook, give the game a share. Share it to your page so that other people in the community. Paris Gameday is new. We've been around for roughly a month or so. So help us grow by giving that page a share to your page. Let other people know that they can watch the Paris Wildcats against the Pleasant Grove Hawks on the road in Texarkana. It'd be greatly appreciated. Some other matchups going on right now. In the district that Paris is in, Quinlan Ford is beating Nevada Community 28-6 at the half. That does not bode well for Community because they're going to have to go against not just Paris, but Salina, Panther Creek, Lake Dallas, Sulphur Springs, Aubrey, teams of that nature. It's a tough district. So this game's going about how I expected. Winsboro lighting up Redwater 37-7. In that game, midway through the second quarter, Camden Capehart is an electric player for Winsboro. And then you have White Oak leading Paul Pewitt 23-6 at the half. The Chisholm Mustangs leading Tom Bean 20-14. As a former Mustang here with me calling this game, got to make you a little bit proud.
Oh, absolutely.
Still some school spirit in there?
Oh, absolutely. And Chisholm really thinks that they can contend in their district this year. They've got a lot of guys with some experience now. Didn't lose a lot to graduation, so should be a good year for them.
Yeah, an explosive sophomore running back in Braden Jordan, who was Paris Gameday's first offensive MVP, 25 touches, 256 total yards, 4 touchdowns. It's a pretty nice way to start your varsity career, and so congratulations to him. You have Lake Dallas leading Fort Worth Brewer 10-7. Defensive battle there. Sulphur Springs on top of Greenville 28-6, and according to this clock at least, there's still 10.5 minutes left in the second quarter. So about like I expected in that game. You have Salina and Waco La Vega. That is a very fun matchup. However, they're in a delay. So 0-0. Isn't that fun? Prairie Land leading S&S Consolidated 14-0 midway through the second quarter. Prairie Land got off to a great start, beating Hartshorn last week. Rivercrest on top of Quitman 15-7, while Rusk is leading Mount Vernon 15-14 in the second quarter. Lindale leading Mount Pleasant 14-7. Commerce on top of Blue Ridge 19-6. Frisco Panther Creek is beating Dallas Carter 35-0. The once great Carter Cowboys, just not who they once were. Aubrey trying to have a nice bounce-back game after a pretty disappointing loss to Sunnyvale last week. They're beating Kennedale 10-3 as that game approaches halftime. And then the Henderson Lions leading Liberty Ilo 14-0 with 8 minutes left in the second quarter. So those are some scores from around the area in Northeast Texas and out of the Paris Wildcat District. And so Paris coming back out onto the field as Pleasant Grove warming up, doing the calisthenics. Got the inflatable up this time for the Paris Wildcats. And, let's have some second half thoughts here before we go to break and bring it back for quarter number 3. What are you thinking that it's going to take for Paris to come out on top here in the second half?
Paris, you're going to have to control the point of attack, control the football. You're going to want time of possession to take up the clock. Now, on defense, you've got to love the physicality that Paris showed in the first half. Chris Garcia, an excellent presence in the middle of the field, had several big tackles. You're going to want to roll that into the second half. For Paris, the key is going to be controlling the football and not playing Pleasant Grove's game as they did for most of the first half. Yeah,
absolutely. And, for the Paris Wildcats, I'm with you. I think that you kind of got to get a little bit of a rhythm going in the passing game, and that's going to start up front. That rhythm is going to start with giving your quarterback some time to let those routes develop, let him get in his drop, survey, go from first read to second read. And if they can do that, I really think that Tyler Heath can end up having a big night. He's got the biggest play of the night so far for the Paris Wildcats, a couple of big hitters. He hit Red Finch down the right sideline. He caught Jacabrian Record down the left sideline. And eventually that turned into the long touchdown run for Tyler Heath. And if you can just give him a little bit more time, I think that they're going to have some second half success.
Oh, absolutely. And I think he's made some great throws so far in this game. And I think Tyler Heath could absolutely take this one over if he has more time in the pocket.
And so halftime has been brought to you by Sky Athletics Cheerleading and Tumbling. Thank you so very much to Sky Athletics for supporting Paris Game Day. You guys are awesome as the Paris Wildcats get ready to return this second half kick. And we're going to keep it right here, of course, as Pleasant Grove's kickoff team comes out onto the field. Keyshawn Roberts deep for Paris. Looks like Jaron Ball along with Aldrin Gill. And showing you a little Pleasant Grove montage, I guess. And we are away here in the second half. Gill will take it around the 5-yard line. He's got speed, breaks through one hole, and then is taken down around the 20, and that's where the Paris Wildcat offense comes out to start the second half, led by their quarterback, Tyler Heath.
Huge drive if you're the Wildcats. You can completely change this game with a touchdown here, going from down 14 to completing the double dip with the score before and after halftime.
Yeah, and then as I mentioned, of course, it's widely known as a double dip, right? Then you get that stop, and you have an opportunity to take the lead. So trips left as Roberts goes in motion. Now double backfield to the left side, and they're going to throw it out to Roberts, trying to turn the corner. Is able to do so, spinning, and is taken down after a nice gain on first down.
We've seen Paris use motion very creatively in this game. Roberts motioning into the backfield and then running the quick out. Nice pickup. You love your down and distance here. We might see Paris take a shot on this next play.
I don't know that I've ever seen a motion where it ends up lining up two backs side by side on the same side. That was interesting. Now trips bunch left. They hand it off to Baugh, and it looks like he hit a wall, but the wall is moving. And that'll be a first down for the Paris Wildcats. And that is always a big relief. You come out, you get that first down, gets momentum going.
Absolutely, and you've got to love the push you're still seeing from this Paris offensive line, driving that pile 2, 3, 4 yards.
So 2 plays, 15 yards for the Paris Wildcats on this drive. Third quarter brought to you by Glassland and Home. Brian Glass, former Paris Wildcat. Heath out of the shotgun. They hand off Ball one more time, and he's pushed back after a gain of about 1 yard. And so Paris, that first throw to Keyshawn Roberts, I like to call that a pass as an extension of the run game as they line up 2 wide here to the right side, single receiver to the left. Looks like Dawson has come in as the back, lined up to the right of Heath. Quick throw. And taken down, well defended, did a good job to present a target, and then great pursuit from Pleasant Grove. That'll bring up 3rd down and about 6. And they'll mark the ball at the 39-yard line. Oh, no, they won't. They'll mark it at the 38. Kind of going back and forth there.
Generous spot on behalf of Pleasant Grove.
Ball on the left hash. Needing the Hawk 45 for a 1st down. There's the snap. And might have had his arm hit as he was trying to let that one go. Kind of shorted it to Jacabrian Record. It was there, just I don't think he got to have the full motion of the throw and get everything that he could behind it. So this Paris drive stalls. Like I said, you picked up the 1st down. Maybe if you're able to flip field position some here, you can count that as a victory. And a nice punt from Heath. Takes a straight up and down bounce to about the 24-yard line. And that's where Pleasant Grove will take over. And now, Evan, it does get a little bit dicey since you were not able to convert on that opening drive. It turns into you can't trade scores.
Oh, absolutely. And Pleasant Grove here has a great opportunity to extend their lead.
And, of course, we've seen that, they can ground and pound. They can run the football efficiently, but they can also strike deep through the air. As Yancey out of the shotgun, he'll hand it off. And Shores comes up as Chris Garcia cleans it up. Get about a gain of 4, 3 to 4 on 1st down. Brings up 2nd down and 6. Brandon Shores, generally speaking, is going to be the smallest dude on the field a lot of the time. Not an imposing player, but has the right mentality, not afraid to stick his nose in there. As Yancey out of the shotgun. Bells comes in motion. Yancey's going to keep it, and he'll be across for a 1st down. And just as we said with Paris, big relief whenever you're able to pick up that first down. You can say something similar for Pleasant Grove here.
Absolutely, and Yancey makes an excellent read on the sweep option there.
So ball right around the 37-yard line. Out of the shotgun, heavy right. Fakes the handoff, and this one's thrown into the ground. Had to avoid Boots Harper, who was coming in hot. And he just decided to drop the arm angle like a shortstop just to get the ball out. That brings up 2nd down.
Always great when you have an outside linebacker who can understand the play and get right in the passing lane.
Single back to the right. Man comes in motion. That's Bells. Fake the handoff to him. Didn't fool any Paris Wildcat, including the sophomore Robinson, making his presence felt. It'll be a loss of a yard, bringing up 3rd down and 11. And I'll tell you, you feel great about a young player when they can play on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
Oh, absolutely. And the penetration there to put Pleasant Grove in a 3rd and 11, this could be huge. Wildcats could get the ball right back here.
Now, you got to limit what they do here on 3rd down. Coach Gibson will go for it on 4th. They step back, Looking, throwing deep ball. Finch has great position, knocks it away. Job well done by Red Finch. And that'll bring up 4th down, and Pleasant Grove will be forced to punt. So, we've traded blows here defensively.
Excellent pass defense by the Wildcats. Yancey, maybe an ill-advised ball. He throws it right into the high safety with the corner trailing behind him. And Finch does excellently to defend the pass.
Good punt. It's going to take a little bit of a Pleasant Grove roll. And then a little kick on the second bounce that puts it inside the 20. That's where the Paris Wildcats will take over. And so far, Pleasant Grove with a slight edge in that field position battle.
This is absolutely still anyone's game. All it takes for Paris is one explosive play, a big throw over the top, or another big quarterback run, and the complexion of this whole game changes.
Trips left. Single receiver to the right with a safety shaded over that direction as well. They're going to hand off, and there's nothing there. Lost a yard, perhaps. And they're going to give him the line of scrimmage, it looks like. So 2nd down coming up for the Paris Wildcats. Clock ticking down to 6 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. They'll go twins left. That's Record in the slot. Twins right with Roberts in the slot. Snap, and I'm not sure Paris was set. Yeah, I don't think Paris was set, unfortunately, because they had Jacabrian Record with no one
Wide
in sight.
open.
Yeah. That's tough. That's a missed opportunity right there. So, Record, rather than standing in the end zone about this time, Paris will face 2nd down and 15. And Jacabrian will line up in the slot in the middle of that trip set to the left. Here's the snap. Handoff, and nothing there. Ball gets hit at the line of scrimmage, might have picked up a yard. And now for Paris, what you need is to kind of get enough to get your punter off that goal line, if you will. They'll go 4 wide. Heath out of the shotgun, takes the snap, looking right, moving, and then has to throw it away. And the Paris Wildcats will be forced to punt.
If you're Pleasant Grove, that's how you're going to win this football game. You could see them getting excellent push on the line of scrimmage on that last drive, and it's ultimately going to force the Wildcats to punt.
And even though Pleasant Grove was forced to punt on their first offensive possession of the second half, one thing they did was, limit the drive for Paris, as this one's high, and Boots Harper has to try to launch it, and it goes off the side of his foot, takes a mild Paris Wildcat bounce, and a little bit better roll that time. But where I'm going with that is the field position battle. As you can see, Pleasant Grove is going to get the ball back in Paris Wildcat territory at around the 47-yard line. Paris picked up a first down, punted from their own 35, And then Pleasant Grove was able to pick up a first down and punt and pin the Paris Wildcats back. And with Paris not moving the ball on that last offensive possession, Pleasant Grove is in business. Yancey hands off and picking his way through some arm tackles. That'll be a gain of about 10. So that'll be a first down for Pleasant Grove on the first carry of this offensive drive.
We've seen this time and again from Marcus Floyd, the ability to shed tackle after tackle to pick up extra yards.
So they'll go twins left, single receiver to the right, heavy to the right. They hand off again, and there's DeBraylon Hughes. Makes the tackle. And that sets up second down and 7 as Hughes has had a pretty good night. We know that we're having a little delay here, but we'll get that back up as soon as possible. In the meantime, you're more than welcome to continue listening as this play is blown dead, and it's going to be a false start against Pleasant Grove. Back. It was back. So second down and 12 for the Pleasant Grove Hawks. Man comes in motion right to left, fake the handoff. Yancey is going to go nowhere. I think that was Hughes once again. That'll bring up third down and 12, so a phenomenal job by the Paris Wildcat defensive front.
Pleasant Grove not in field goal range. Would be huge if you can get a stop.
And you got to keep them from getting about half of this, I would guess, because they're definitely in what they would consider four-down territory. And they're going to unleash one. It's going to fall incomplete. And that'll bring up 4th and 12. So, yeah, just as you were saying,
Yeah, you think they got a punt from this position, and that's a big drop over the middle by Wyatt Neal. He had a lot of space in front of him. Paris playing very close in pass coverage on that one.
So Pleasant Grove will punt, and they get a high one away. Inevitably, you're going to have a pretty good spot here, and it's going to roll inside the 5 down to about the 4. And we're back up. Thank you.
Long way to go if you're the Wildcats. Focus on getting a first down, managing your down and distance earlier in the drive. Take the top off the defense. You've got a game plan, and you have a receiver group that's very talented and experienced, so there's a lot you can do this drive if you're Paris, if you can get a couple first downs.
Well, the big victory there is Pleasant Grove started in your territory, and you forced the punt, so that's the positive. But now, you are back against the wall. And I'm curious what goes on here. They got Boots Harper in as the Wildcat quarterback. That usually means that he's just going to take it and run straight ahead, see what they can get. And that's exactly what they're going to do here as Boots absorbs a hit and will pick up about 2 just to get out of the shadow of their own end zone, really. They'll mark him for 3.
Second and long here. You got to be careful if you're thinking about passing the ball here. Heath has been under heavy pressure this whole game. The last thing you want to do in this scenario is take a safety.
Yeah, you might consider something quick. You might consider a pop pass. We haven't really seen that, and Heath is going to be lined up in the slot. Harper will continue as the Wildcat quarterback, and he'll run around the left side. Not much there, picking up yard and a half perhaps, takes it to 3rd down and 5. So this ball is sitting around the 9-yard line, and you need the 14. And depending on how that defense lines up, now they're going to keep Boots in as that Wildcat quarterback, and he's going to take it himself once again, spinning, and he'll be taken down after about 2 yards. So it's going to leave 3rd and 3 on the field for the Paris Wildcats, and you know, I get it, like you were saying, Evan, and that's probably the mentality of Coach Hohenberger is, yeah, we would love to, drop back and throw the ball, but we've had a really tough time protecting Tyler Heath. And so what they're going to do is let this clock run all the way down and go to the 4th quarter, and we'll head that way with them. Pleasant Grove leads 14-7 over the Paris Wildcats. We'll be right back on Game Day.
Yay! We're so excited you decided to become a member.
Thanks. I didn't think it would be this easy.
I know. We've opened up memberships so even more people can take advantage of our amazing services.
Are you going to clean this up?
Become a new member and take advantage of all RRCU can offer. Experience the credit union difference anytime, anywhere.
No, seriously, are you going to clean this up?
Do you RRCU?
And start of the 4th quarter here from Texarkana at Hawks Stadium. Pleasant Grove leads 14-7 over the Paris Wildcats, man. This one has been hard fought really from start to finish. We thought there would be a few more points on this one. However, it's been a real defensive battle instead.
Absolutely. And just as you predicted, 3rd quarter, defensive slugfest and scoreless. We'll see what the Wildcats do here. They have a quarterback that's going to be in formation if they have a punt appearing formation. So always the threat of the fake punt from Paris here.
Boy, that is no better time than non-district, right?
This game won't keep us out of the playoffs. Let's just try it.
Yeah, why not? But it looks like Tyler Heath is in at quarterback. Now, Harper did punt the last one from deep in their own territory. And they'll give the clap, see if they can get Pleasant Grove to jump offside, and then likely step back and punt is usually the way this goes. But that's not the step back and punt. No, they're going to try it. They're going to throw a deep ball and just too deep. Oh, had him. Just couldn't quite get it to Keyshawn Roberts, and now, look, people are going to look at this and go, what a decision to make. Wow, what the heck, right? Mm-hmm. But the logic is exactly what we just explained. You're 14-7. Both offenses have been stagnant. Hey, it's non-district. Let's try something. Let's just do it, right?
Absolutely. And those are the kind of throws as a quarterback that keep you up at night. But a play like that could have totally flipped the field on Pleasant Grove.
Yeah, and technically, when you look at it, because it didn't work, people are like, what are you doing? You had a man open. The play did work. It just wasn't executed. So now Yancey out of the shotgun, man in motion, right to left, fake the jet sweep, and Yancey takes it up the middle and just gets met by, I think, Chris Garcia. And Yancey is a big kid. You know, he's got some thickness to him, but Chris Garcia, when you think middle linebacker, that's how he is built. And Yancey felt that one.
Absolutely. Such an asset to have a guy like him. The defense runs through Chris Garcia tonight.
Out of the shotgun, snap, and they'll hand this one off, and it gets swallowed up in the backfield. And it looked like you had a number of Wildcats, including Jackson Threadgill back there. And his helmet comes off, so he'll have to come off the field. But nonetheless, suddenly 4th and 12 for Pleasant Grove. And if you limit them to a field goal, that's a win.
Absolutely. And Paris should not be conservative on this one. They should put pressure right in the face of Yancey on this 3rd down.
Well, let's see what they do. They're showing a little pressure off the edge. And this one is going to be dropped. It looked like he had a chance. Got across the face of the receiver on the slant. And Paris defensively holds. It's 4th and 12. And they are going to kick the field goal, it looks like. And I would have liked, you know, Coach Gibson, just as Coach Hohenberger went for it on the 4th down, I would like to see him go for it on 4th down here and try to get the ball in the end zone. But Coach Gibson's going to elect to kick the field goal here. Make it a 2-score game, so smart thing to do. This one's blown dead. False start against Pleasant Grove. So that'll make it just that much more difficult of a kick. I do wonder if whenever they went for it on that 4th down, if Coach Gibson on the other side is thinking, man, that guy's crazy over there. This kick is up and just finds its way inside the upright. Pleasant Grove extends their lead 17-7 over the Paris Wildcats. We have about 10:35 left to go in the 4th quarter. 17-7, Pleasant Grove, and we will be right back here on Game Day.
Ready to rep your school and your wallet?
I'm here to open a student account and score that sweet school debit card.
With no monthly fees, mobile banking, and a debit card that shows your school pride, our student account is built for your game plan.
Get in the game. Open yours today.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
Keyshawn Roberts back deep to receive this kick from Pleasant Grove. And the Paris Wildcats needing some offense as this one's going to go into the end zone. That's quite a leg on that young man. Paris will bring it out, and Tyler Heath and the Paris Wildcat offense that was so electric last week to start the game and to end the game against Sanger. A little bit of a lull there in the middle of that ball game. But
Paris, you're absolutely still in this game. You need to get your offense into a rhythm here. If they can do that, pick up a couple first downs, they could change this one and get right back in it.
yeah, a touchdown brings you to within 3. And you have Heath, empty gun, takes the snap, quick throw, gets Keyshawn Roberts involved, and picks up about 5 on first down. That's what you're looking for. It's been tough getting Keyshawn the ball. They threw it to him on that 4th down just couldn't quite get it there. And now Tyler Heath has some room to run around the left side, and he'll pick up the first down. And that's a pretty good read by Heath, and I think that's exactly what he's able to do is, hey, you look right. Is it there? No. All right, bail out. The other side of the field is empty. All bodies are flowing this way.
Absolutely. Such a boon for your offense when you have a quarterback who understands the dynamics of the play and can see the field like Heath can.
Twins left, single receiver right. Snap handoff. You know, first half, Paris was able to kind of go power for power with that Pleasant Grove defensive front. There were some times whenever they pushed that pile and, picked up 3, 4, 5 yards just, in a scrum. But here in the second half, Pleasant Grove has not allowed that at all. Second and 10 as Dawson checks in as the back. Twins right. Single receiver left. Heath throws it underneath, and Finch breaks a tackle and is able to get back close to the line of scrimmage, but Pleasant Grove does a great job to corral. And it's the pressure on Tyler Heath that has really prevented Paris from being able to spread the ball across to these receivers like they were able to do last week against Sanger. Heath hit 9 different wide receivers, which is a phenomenal number. But here they face 3rd and 11. Heath from the shotgun. And let's see, Paris is going to elect to take a timeout in order to avoid a delay of game penalty. It was going to be close. Heath made that last check at the line, and we'll be right back here on Game Day.
At Moore Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Paris, we can make your next vehicle purchase simple, stress-free, and built around you. Whether you're looking for a rugged Ram truck, an adventurous Jeep, or a quality pre-owned, we have the right vehicle for you at the right price. And with over 700 5-star reviews, our customers know that our friendly, knowledgeable staff is here for you. So come see us off the loop in Paris, Texas, and for more details, visit morecdjr.com.
Out of the timeout, I'd like to thank Stephen Walker, Paris injury attorney, for his contribution to Paris Game Day. Thank you so much for helping make Game Day possible in Lamar County. Here in the fourth quarter, Pleasant Grove leads 17-7. 8:21 left in this ball game, a 2-score game. Pleasant Grove ahead, and the Paris Wildcats facing 3rd and 11. And really, without the threat of the run game, it's been tough for Paris to get the passing game going. So they'll come out 2 wide to the short side of the field. They'll throw this one underneath and pick up about 5 yards, but not nearly enough. But I'm betting that if they went for it earlier, probably going for it here, right? I mean, I don't know what sense it would make to go for it from your own 12, but not go for it from your own 40. Just under 8 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Heath out of the shotgun. Takes the snap and was going to throw it deep. And there was a safety sitting right over the top of that one, and flag comes out. They're going to say false start against Paris.
When the pressure against Heath has been as immediate as it has been, it's really hard to get your offense going. Landon Fincher on the closer side of the field here has been absolutely dominant rushing the passer so far in this one.
Now facing 4th and 11 after the penalty. And not that penalties have killed Paris in this ball game necessarily. There haven't been a lot of them, but this is one that really hurts. And they moved again, and there's no call. So Heath is just going to have to let it fly, and Fabian Brown comes up with it and has a first down. Well, how about that? Paris first does get away, make no mistake about it, with a false start. And then Tyler Heath with just kind of a he's down there somewhere type attitude, right?
Absolutely, and what a catch in traffic. That is huge, and now might see the Wildcats get something going here.
Heath under pressure again, and he delivers a ball. This one's caught. Fabian Brown again. Brown. And then he loses the ball. I think he lost it. I don't think he was down. Yeah, that's Pleasant Grove football. That's tough.
Looked to be atop the Pleasant Grove defender there.
Yeah.
That is the toughest way to fumble the football. Laying prone on top of another player.
And what I love, obviously that's tough, but you have a number of Paris Wildcat defensive players immediately go and huddle around Fabian Brown and, patting him on the helmet. This is a sophomore making his second varsity start, and he just made a phenomenal play, made another phenomenal play, and, you get caught up trying to do a lot, and he coughs the ball up. Meanwhile, Pleasant Grove on the other side pushes ahead for a gain of 8 on first down. And at the end of the day, it's just been that pressure from Pleasant Grove. Obviously, Paris was able to make something happen through the air, but it kind of came on some last-ditch will as Pleasant Grove cross, gain of 3 for the first down. And if you're Fabian Brown, of course, you need some of that short-term memory. Your team's still going to need you. You're going to get the ball back. This ball game is not over. So what you need to do is be in the mindset of going out and making another play. And it looks like Pleasant Grove's going to go into their own form of a Wildcat, and that young man is quick. There's Javion Butler, junior receiver. He was across and through that initial line in a blur. They're going to go right back to it with Butler taking the snap. He'll sprint right, finds a hole, finally gets upended, but it'll be a 9-yard gain on first down. I'll tell you, a lot of games, the nuance to it can come down to first down success. And simply, even though there's only been 3 points scored here in the second half with 5 minutes remaining, Pleasant Grove has had more success on first down. This ball ends up on the ground, though, and that'll put PG back to 3rd and 10. So catching a little break there. But I'll say this, man, that 35-second play clock feels like an eternity when the game gets late in the fourth quarter. This fourth quarter action tonight, by the way, brought to you by Drake Construction. We appreciate Drake Construction very much for making Paris game day happen. Hand off up the middle, and there's first down, doesn't matter. And this is going to be Nick Bell's, his second long run of the night, and he's in for the touchdown. And that's probably the exclamation point on this ball game, even though if Sanger was any indication, sports can be sportsin' sometimes. But that time, Bell, you get through that initial line and you get some blocking downfield, you make a man miss, and Nick Bell showing off what he's capable of. As the extra point is up and good. 24-7 with 4:04 remaining in the ball game. Paris taking the kickoff when we return on game day.
Sorry you're under the weather, Susie. Here are those loan docs.
Thanks, James. I'm so glad we didn't have to delay this closing.
Tissue?
Thanks.
Secure and safe loan closings, or take care of just about any banking task. Experience the credit union difference. Anytime, anywhere. With RRCU's digital banking. Do you RRCU?
Sorry you're under the weather, Susie. Here are those loan docs.
Thanks, James. I'm so glad we didn't have to delay this closing.
Tissue?
Thanks.
Secure and safe loan closings, or take care of just about any banking task. Experience the credit union difference. Anytime, anywhere. With RRCU's digital banking. Do you RRCU?
And we're back with the kickoff, and it'll be Keyshawn Roberts deep, and he's probably saying, come on, man, give me a chance. And then Pleasant Grove says, no way. Just launches it out of the back of the end zone.
If you're Paris at this point, what you're looking for is something to build on. There are positives to take away from this game. Early in the game, you were getting great movement at the point of attack. Tyler Heath was able to create some with his feet and to find some receivers down the field. So at this point, you're just looking to put together a solid drive to end off the game.
Yeah, put together a drive. Maybe if you can hit something quick, get an onside kick, then you can make it intriguing. But you're going to need a lot of things to happen. And like I said last week against Sanger, a lot of things happened to make an otherwise dominating Paris performance kind of interesting. But rather here, they're going to hand off. It'll be a loss of 1 as the backup quarterback, Jamarius Shelton, senior, comes in for Paris. I'm trying to look at some of these other numbers, and yeah, I think that this is more so Paris, as there's a penalty marker down that goes in favor of the Wildcats. This is Paris pretty much saying, we've got some reserves in the ball game. There's been a lot of pressure on Tyler Heath. Let's get some of these backups some reps, see if we can't create a little bit of depth as we get ready to get out of here and go play the daunting district schedule. Of course, you got Van Alstyne and White House. Here's a reception. Catch made by Fabian Brown.
That's what you want for Fabian Brown after the fumble on the last drive. You want him to get some good receptions, work him into this offense.
Yeah,
he's something to build on.
He's got ball skills, man. I mean, he's still in his baby body. He's thin. He's a sophomore, and he can play football. He knows how to play the game. As Shelton takes a snap, hands off Dawson, picking his way around the right side, and he'll pick up the first down for the Paris Wildcats across midfield. And, you know, one thing for Paris about this ball game is you can look at this thing and know that tomorrow morning Pleasant Grove's going to know they played a ball game. This wasn't just a dominating performance on the part of PG. It was a fact of them kind of pulling away at the end, as this pop pass kind of was a disaster from the start, from the snap being bobbled, getting it to him, and then you bobble the pop pass and ends up for a loss of 6. So that'll take us to the 2-minute, and I think it's called a 2-minute timeout at the high school level instead of a 2-minute warning. Doesn't matter. We're going to step aside regardless here on Game Day.
Yay! We're so excited you decided to become a member.
Thanks, I didn't think it would be this easy.
I know. We've opened up memberships so even more people can take advantage of our amazing services.
Are you gonna clean this up?
Become a new member and take advantage of all RRCU can offer. Experience the credit union difference anytime, anywhere.
No, seriously, are you gonna clean this up?
Do you RRCU?
Yay! We're so excited you decided to become a member.
Thanks, I didn't think it would be this easy.
I know. We've opened up memberships so even more people can take advantage of our...
And back after the timeout, second half timeouts brought to you by Stephen Walker, Paris injury attorney. Shelton, you know, oh, this ball, it depends on if it was open palm or not type of deal. They're going to say incomplete. Now, third down for the Paris Wildcats, and it's just a matter of getting this one wrapped up and on the bus healthy. These pre-district games are all about tuning up. I think both teams can feel like they've accomplished some stuff out here tonight as Shelton hands off to Dawson.
I think one of the biggest things to carry forward for Paris is just how physical you were on defense. We saw some punishing hits tonight, and some stars really shine for Paris in pass coverage and tackling. So definitely something you can take into your district play.
Yeah, and if you can limit explosive plays, which is going to be vital whenever you take on, of course, Salina, but also Frisco Panther Creek has a couple of kids who are D1 commits. I believe they got a Texas Tech commit. They have an Oregon commit as well, I'm pretty sure. But limiting big plays, because they did a good job of limiting drives, just not necessarily limiting that explosive aspect, as that's how Pleasant Grove scored all 3 of their touchdowns was on long explosive plays, a couple on the ground and then one through the air. Paris scored their lone touchdown on an explosive play as well, with Tyler Heath running it in. And there is a timeout. We're going to keep it here as we get ready to wrap this one up from Texarkana. And for the Paris Wildcats, you bring in Van Alstine next. And this is really interesting because I remember last year it was home, and then 3 straight on the road, and that was really tough. That is hard, especially one is 5A White House, and then you start district against formerly 5A Lake Dallas. So they're just going to throw a deep ball here, and, I mean, that's 4th down. It's, you know, it's a punt situation right there. But nonetheless, It's going to feel really good for the Paris Wildcats to come home and have 3 straight games at home. 54 seconds left here in this ball game as Pleasant Grove's offense takes to the field, likely handoff in the ball game, but nonetheless, it will be Hawk football. Pretty much all 2s both ways for these teams. As Caden Newberry ends up with the tackle on the back end. And the only difference here is that clock stops whenever you pick up a first down late. Just across midfield to the Paris Wildcat 49-yard line. One young man that I thought had a good game was sophomore Jeremiah Robinson. Now you're going up against a big defensive front, or a big offensive front for Pleasant Grove, and sophomore second start, and he made some really good plays for the Paris Wildcats here tonight. That's going to do it for our ball game here tonight. Pleasant Grove, a winner, 24-7 over the Paris Wildcats. Evan, I'd like to thank you very much for joining me here tonight. I look forward to doing more Paris Wildcat football games with you. And Reed Preston, always doing a fantastic job as our producer. Thank you guys so very much. Have a wonderful weekend, Wildcat fans, and be safe.